Welcome everyone. Let's begin to try to get out of hereditary drag in this world. From using the Lord's biblical truths of our own repentance, following His commandments, and charity to one's neighbor within our own earthly journeys for our time in this world. Today, to begin to start getting out of the hereditary drag of false doctrines and the evils within ourselves, that old devil, our selfish tendencies, for a more celestial speed up for now and future generations. We begin by delving into the profound impact we make on our children, and we can pass torches of love and wisdom so that future generations can continue to increase more peace and happiness around the world. In Exodus 20 verses 5-6, it states that, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. But let's dig a little deeper. The attention of reformers and educators, and of all who have the good of the world at heart, is turning more and more to the children. It is a difficult task to reform the character when it is confirmed and hardened with years. It is like trying to straighten an old tree or to mold clay that has been hardened in the fire. But the same effort wisely directed to a child may do much to form a character that is noble and lovely. We are then bending a pliant twig or molding plastic clay. The period of childhood, of growth and formation, gives us our best opportunity to exert an influence which will be effective. When we realize how great the results of our influence may be for happiness or misery through all of life, and not in this world only but to eternity, we feel the sacredness of our duty to the children and the importance of learning to do it wisely. To think that our association with a child, our words or our examples, can influence their whole life in this world and forever. It is a wonderful trust that the Lord has reposed in us in committing such great things to our care. Our duty to the children. In our journey to understand the profound impact of our actions on children, it's crucial to recognize the weight of our responsibilities derived from biblical teachings and the insights they give. The ancient scriptures caution us about the lasting effects of our behaviors, not just on the immediate generation, but extending through multiple generations, and how we can stop it. The focus on nurturing children's growth from their beginning has become a central theme for many seeking to reform society. Unlike the arduous task of reshaping the character of adults, molding the young presents a unique opportunity for positive influence. The malleable nature of childhood allows for the development of noble and lovely characters. Acknowledging the long-term impact of our influence on children, both in this life and beyond, elevates the duty of care we owe them. It is a divine trust entrusted to us, shaping their lives profoundly. Our responsibility towards children doesn't start at adolescence or later. It begins from their earliest consciousness, influenced even before birth by the parents' attitudes and lives. Understanding this early influence provides a crucial perspective on our approach to parenting. Heredity plays a significant role in shaping individuals, carrying traits and tendencies from one generation to the next, just as observed in plants and animals. This transmission is not limited to physical characteristics, but extends deeply into mental and emotional traits. Let us begin at the beginning and inquire how heredity bears upon our duty to the children. By heredity, we do not mean an arbitrary title to virtue or to sin, supposed to have descended to us from Adam. We mean nothing arbitrary nor exceptional, but simply the same kind of transmission of qualities and of traits of character from parent to child, which we recognize as a law of all generations. The seeds of plants and trees bring forth after their kind. When we plant wheat, we know that wheat will grow, and corn from corn, and not thorns and thistles. Not only are the general characteristics of a species perpetuated in successive generations, but special qualities. So we plant in our gardens the seeds of choice varieties of vegetables and fruits, expecting that the peculiar flavor and quality of the parent plants will reappear in their descendants. We also know that if we continue the conditions which have given rise to certain peculiar qualities, those qualities will be developed to greater perfection. The same law holds in the animal kingdom. The gentle animals and the fierce bring forth according to their kind, and special excellences of parents are perpetuated and increased in their descendants. Everything which parents have contracted by frequent use and habit until it has become familiar to them, so as to appear as if it were natural, is derived into their children and becomes hereditary. If parents have lived in the enjoyment of the love of good, and have perceived in this life their delight and blessedness, their offspring receive thence an inclination to a like good. In like manner, they who receive hereditarily the enjoyment of the love of evil. As to hereditary evil, the case is this, that everyone who commits actual sin induces a nature on himself thence, and the evil thence is implanted in the children and becomes hereditary, and that thus from each ancestor, from his father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and other forefathers in order, it is multiplied and grows in his posterity, and remains with each, and is increased with each by actual sins, nor is it dissipated so as not to be hurtful, except with those who are regenerated by the Lord. When we are told that this accumulated evil of generations is our inheritance, we are appalled, and when we learn that a part of the evil inheritance can never be absolutely removed, the case seems hopeless, especially when we see the conditions of evil in which so many children are born. It is well that we should be enough appalled to realize that there is no safety and no possibility of heaven for anyone except through the mercy of the Lord. Trusting in His mercy, which is forever and over all His children, we may calmly study the principles of heredity and note their bearing upon our duty to the children. They compel us to feel kindly towards the children and their faults. They show us that the way of heaven is open to every child, but that the Lord's providence needs our cooperation. They teach us that the first help we owe the children is to resist for their sakes the evil in ourselves. The Lord in judging takes all conditions and circumstances into account. He that knew not and committed things worthy of stripes is less guilty than he that knew and committed the same sins. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Luke 12:47-48. And among the conditions which the Lord takes into account are those of heredity and birth, which he only knows. The Lord shall count, when he writeth up the people, that this man was born there. Psalm 87:6. Moreover, sin is not inherited, nor goodness, but only tendencies to one or the other. As tendencies, they are not a part of character, and however bad they may be, they do not make one guilty. Evil dispositions do not become actual and a part of our real selves until we knowingly choose them and encourage them, and so far as we are free to do so, act from them. Then they become ours, and by continuing to act from them, we confirm and strengthen them. If one thus chooses evil, he is guilty, not before. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son. Ezekiel 28:20. But because the Lord does his part, it does not follow that there is nothing for men to do. His providence always needs our cooperation. The very sentence which tells us of his care for future generations reminds us also of our own responsibility. The iniquities of the fathers upon the children. The son is not made guilty by his father's sin. No one is condemned because of a bad heredity, and yet it still is true that careless and wicked parents make the way harder for their children. On the other hand, ought not a knowledge of the laws of heredity put it in the power of the well-disposed to lessen the burden which is handed on from parent to child, from generation to generation? No doubt it ought. The words of the commandment distinctly imply it. But here we are on holy ground. One who would assume to predetermine and control the character of a child is surely touching with profane hands what belongs to the Lord alone. Human efforts in this direction must be rather negative than positive. They must be efforts to subdue self and to put thoughts of self far away, that there may be no hindrance to the Lord in doing his blessed work. Except the Lord build the house, except the Lord keep the city. Lo, children are heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Psalm 127. The concept of hereditary evil illustrates the challenging conditions humanity faces, contrasting with the natural inclinations towards good observed in early human history. It highlights the necessity of regeneration and the complex nature of inherited traits. The Lord's judgment, merciful and all-knowing, considers all factors, including the challenges of heredity. Recognition of sin and goodness as choices rather than inheritances emphasizes the individual's responsibility in shaping their character. The distinction between inherited tendencies and chosen behaviors underscores the path to guilt or innocence based on personal choices. This principle reinforces the importance of conscious decision-making in the development of one's moral and spiritual character. A good natural disposition, while advantageous, does not guarantee a heavenly character. True goodness requires the adoption of spiritual principles and the performance of good deeds for the sake of the divine. Not faith alone, as too many continue to preach and believe today. In conclusion, our duty to children encompasses a deep understanding of heredity's role, the importance of early influence, and the transformative power of personal choice and divine guidance. Embracing this multifaceted responsibility with compassion, wisdom, and hope paves the way for nurturing generations capable of choosing goodness and contributing positively to the world. Yet the thought of helping others should be a strong motive in resisting not only wrong acts, but wrong thoughts and feelings. Every resistance to evil lessens the power of evil in the world, for others as well as for ourselves. We resist evil for the sake of others when we put away some selfishness, that the Lord may work more fully through us and with us, and that the brightness of heaven may grow within us and shine around us. Especially must we think of this in our relations with the children. Parents, and the thought applies in a less degree to teachers, and all who are with children, should faithfully resist every evil act and thought and feeling in their own hearts for the children's sake, that they may bring to them a good and helpful influence and not a poisoned one, that they may not cut off from the children the blessed influence of the Lord, but in every way may suffer them to come to Him. Often one might grow careless or be led away by some sudden impulse, but the thought of the children who look to Him for help reminds him to be faithful. For their sakes I sanctify myself, John 17:19. It is our first duty to the children. Incorporating spirituality and the principles of choosing good over evil into nurturing children can significantly support their development in overcoming inherited challenges. Here's how parents can weave these elements into everyday practices. Model kindness. Demonstrate acts of kindness and compassion in your daily life. Whether it's helping a neighbor or showing empathy towards someone in distress, you're teaching your child the value of good over evil through your actions. Share stories of virtue. Use stories, whether from religious texts, spiritual teachings, or moral tales, to illustrate the importance of virtues like honesty, courage, and kindness. Discuss the moral of the story and how it applies to real-life situations. Practice gratitude. Encourage a habit of gratitude. Sharing what you're thankful for at the dinner table or keeping a family gratitude journal can foster a positive outlook and appreciation for life's blessings. Encourage service to others. Involve your child in community service or acts of charity. This could be organizing a food drive, volunteering at a local shelter, or simply performing random acts of kindness. It teaches them the joy of giving and the importance of contributing to the greater good. Foster spiritual practices. Introduce your child to spiritual practices that resonate with your family's beliefs. This could be prayer, meditation, attending services, or spending time in nature reflecting on the beauty of creation. Teach forgiveness. Show your child the power of forgiveness over holding grudges. Share examples of forgiving others and discuss how it brings peace to both parties involved. Encourage mindfulness and connection. Practice mindfulness exercises together, such as deep breathing or meditation, emphasizing the connection between all living beings and the importance of living in harmony. Promote ethical thinking. Engage in discussions about ethical dilemmas and what it means to choose good over evil. Use examples from news stories, books, or movies as conversation starters. Nurture hope and faith. Share your spiritual beliefs about hope and faith, especially during challenging times. Teach them that even in the face of adversity, maintaining faith can guide them towards positive outcomes. But not just faith alone. The Lord teaches that we must repent and have charity for the neighbor. Celebrate spiritual milestones. Acknowledge and celebrate spiritual milestones or holidays according to your family's traditions. It's a way to deepen their understanding and appreciation for your spiritual heritage. By integrating these practices into your parenting, you're not only helping your child navigate the challenges of inherited traits, but also equipping them with a moral compass that guides them towards choosing good, fostering spiritual growth, and contributing positively to the world around them. By doing these things, then one day there may be more harmony and peace on earth. We can do this. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our other videos on other biblical subjects. Until next time.